Scars on the surface, but they deeper within. Every stitch is a chapter, every break is a win. From the pain we ascend, like the phoenix we rise. Scars podcast, where the truth never lies.
We are back with another episode of Scars. Today I'm sitting down with Miss Coffee. How are you doing, Miss Coffee?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you, Dave. I'm doing amazing.
That is what's up. Listen, Miss Coffee, tell my audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me first. It's a pleasure. Well, a little bit about me. I am a retired veteran. I did 21 years. I'm from Miami. Whew. And I've done a lot. Designing and where I am right now wasn't what I thought I was going to be doing, but my journey has been an amazing one.
Yeah, it's weird that we sit here today because I actually came to your show in Atlanta.
Yes, you did. You came to my show. So the show was Rise of the Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that is, if you know anything about phoenixes, they go through that transition, going into the ashes, being in the fire, and coming out beautiful. And I always said I was in the shadows for so long. Somebody told me, I'm always in the shadows. I'm always in the shadows. And I think with that event, it was me coming out.
Okay.
It was me coming out of the ashes and just showing my true colors. And so with that, every one of my brims had a different color on it, just representing the phoenix and the beauty of it.
So what is a brim?
So a brim to me is just not a headpiece. It's just not something you wear to cover your head from the weather. It's a statement.
Okay.
It's something that when you walk into the room, it's going to make somebody say, where did they get that from?
Okay.
And with my brims, they're all unique because every one of them has his own name and tells his own story. I remember who I was thinking about, what I was thinking about. They all come with a key, a cog, and a button. The key represents you'll never face any door locked in life. The cog represents time. Time is on your side if you use it wisely. And the button represents security. There's no person that don't want a door open more time or to feel secure within themselves. So I say, tell the story, unlock the brim. But it's a caveat. I don't want the story where everything looks good and life was happy and you had money in your pocket. I want that story where you didn't think you was going to make it. That's the story I want. And I want you to tell it to me beautifully because we sometimes forget that we are the star in our own story. So I say, tell the story, unlock the brim, and let your story be the light in somebody else's darkness. So no longer shall I sit in the shadows. I'm outside. My scar that I would say changed my life was when I was 8. My mom married my dad, my biological father. And I hated it.
Really?
Hated it. I was the only child. I was not the token one. I was the dark-skinned one, the middle baby. And I was the one that didn't get a lot of attention. So from there, being in that place at 8, not wanting to be, because I didn't have that relationship. My older sister had her father and her siblings. My younger sister had, her dad, but he passed away, and then she had siblings, but I was just by myself. So being in the house and you're alone in a sense, like the only child, and my dad, we didn't have that relationship. So from 8, I was child abused from 8 to 16. And so from there, it was like being an 8-year-old girl looking for love, not feeling it. You look for it and search for it from everywhere.
You mean like physically abused?
Yeah. Like beat.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Do you remember any?
Yeah, I remember a lot of them. I think the most significant one was turning 11, 12. So imagine being 8, you're in the house with, your dad, and you're looking for that. I'm the princess, this is my dad. I need that time. I want to be. Yeah, I didn't have it. He treated my younger sister and my older sister like they was everything. I was like the outcast. And it was quite difficult being in that situation, knowing that was my father. I'm like, this is my daddy. Why am I being treated like that? And not knowing how to express yourself and not being heard. Because, you know, in the South, you're not raised to speak. You're raised to be seen. And not being able to express yourself, not being able to talk, you wind up looking for love in different places. And for me, I don't want to say I started, but it was like when other things give you attention, that's what you attract to. So I started attracting to trouble. You know, I started fighting. I became a bully because I was bullied. And then 11 and 12, being introduced to boys for the first time, trying to figure it out. Oh my gosh. If I could ever say to anybody about being 11 and 12, having sex for the first time, and you don't know, and you don't have a family support, that's challenging.
Okay.
I went from wanting to be loved to now I'm an outcast, nobody wants you. The only reason why somebody gonna talk to you or a male is because they want between your legs.
Oh.
So you gotta imagine going from not feeling loved at all to now somebody telling you that you're not gonna be loved. You know, so that was a little difficult. And I ran to the streets. I was in trouble. I was fighting. I was in school. And now that I'm at my age and I talk to my mom or my family, they say, well, what was it that caused you to get in trouble or to be a misfit? When you're looking for something that you don't have, the streets will give it to you. And I was raised in so many different things in the streets. My mom didn't know. By the time I was 16, I was tired of fighting. I was tired of getting beat by my mom. I was tired of getting beat by my dad. So I was in private school. They put me in private school to give me better education. But I wanted to play sports. I wasn't getting along at home. I'm fighting, getting kicked out. I was a straight A student, completely smart, real smart, but was fighting, wasn't loved. So at 16, I fought my dad.
Okay.
And that changed me because, you know, can you imagine fighting your parent? And what would you think your mom or your parent would say to you if you fought your other parent?
My mom would have tried to kill me. She was a little different. So
yeah, my mom was crazy.
If I got out of line like that, it would be a problem with Vanessa.
Yeah, so my mom was like that too.
Yeah.
When I fought my dad, my mom said to me, "Why did you fall?" Because I fell when I was fighting him.
Why did you fall?
Why did you fall? And from that, I never believed in falling again. You couldn't, I don't care what it was. I ain't falling. I would damn near break my neck not to hit that ground. I don't care. I'm not gonna fall. Cause that triggered me to know, like, you can't fail. Cause if you fail, there's nobody there to pick you up.
Mm. Tell me about the pimp when you were 16.
So I was in the streets. I was in high school. My boyfriend, who I was in like a little gang situation, he wound up getting killed in the drive-by. He had been shot in drive-by like a couple weeks before. He wound up getting killed after that.
You're not going to speak about that. At 16, you was in the gang.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Florida.
In Florida.
Crazy. If you would ask my family, people that know, they wouldn't know.
So your boyfriend at the time got killed?
Got killed.
Okay.
And then, if you know anything about, I was property. If you're a female, you become property. So you passed on to the...
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know.
So I was passed on to the next person in line. And then I was like, no, I ain't doing none of that. We ain't finna do that. Then I met this guy, and he started buying me stuff. Started buying me stuff, buying me shoes. You know, I'm like, I'm 16, I'm cute, can't tell me nothing. Okay. And then there was a question that he asked me. He was like, hey, somebody wants to have sex with you. You mind doing it? What? Nah, bro, my mama would kill me. I'm already bad. But nah, can't do that one. So it was crazy because my mom, he had wanted to give me a beeper. He got me a beeper. My mom found that beeper. And I think my mom wouldn't have found that beeper. He probably would still been trying to get in contact with me. Because there was some other people that I knew that, other females that he was trying to, you know,
Recruit.
recruit at that time. And so from there, I was like, okay. So when I tell you about the game, females, instead of them getting the guys, they were starting to going after the girlfriends. So they was shooting up the females. One of the females that was dating one of the other guys wound up getting killed in front of her boyfriend's house. They thought he was in the car, in his car, but it was her. She got shot up 2 months pregnant.
Wow.
And so it was like, this ain't the life. Like, this ain't what I want to do. And so it was like, either you gonna live by the streets or you gonna die by the streets. And so I chose to run. And and I tell people now, it's like going from one cage to another, turning 18, I was like, I gotta get away from my mama. I gotta get away from Miami. And I need my wings to be free. So joining the military was my option. It was like, I'm not going to college because I wanted to tell my mama. I already know how school was because I was in private school. So I understood the psychological part of being in school, and that's not where I wanted. And I remember going to the recruiter office and they said, I want to go to war. I want to go fight. Because I would have rather been in war than being in the fight that I was in at home. I was ready to go. So 18, joined the military, and best decision I ever did. Challenging, but best decision. Yep.
You have any scars from that time?
Whew. I feel like when I walked into the military, I walked in with a target on my back. If you say you was from Miami, New York, Louisiana, Arkansas, you know, in the main cities.
Mm-hmm.
You think you tough? You ain't even had to say nothing. But just from them knowing where you from, you automatically was a target. So now imagine going from fighting at home, fighting in school, fighting in the streets. Now you trying to get away from all that, and you go right back into another world where you're in the fight again. Basic training. Oof. It was difficult, but it was easy. The easy part was the noise didn't bother me. The chaos didn't bother me at all. It was the restriction. Not being able to do what I want to do and not being able to be free. Wanting to just, you know, be able to do what I wanted to do in my life at that time. And not necessarily saying that I wanted to not use the tools and the skills my mom gave me, but just, you know how you get off of your mom's house and you like you know it all, you got your skills and tools. Yeah, I thought that. I thought I was grown. And then I was in Korea. By that time, basic training, AIT, I'm well into my MOS, which is my job. Got to Korea, which is my first duty station. The best time of my life. Like, the Army back then was completely different than what it is now. If anybody in the military would hear this, they'll probably agree. Completely different just set up in atmosphere. Korea was different. At 20, I was able to legally drink in Korea. So you go from being free, trying to figure it out, being 20, and I'm still in trouble. I'm getting in trouble in the Army, in trouble at home, trouble in the streets, in the Army, and I'm in trouble. And I'm in Korea, and I remember calling my mom, and I was ready. Like, I was like, Mom, I can't do this.
So tell us about some of the trouble.
Oh,
like you skipping past the trouble.
whew.
You got to listen. The show is called Scars.
Okay, so when I was in Korea, that was my first Article 15. So in the military, I got 7 Article 15s. The 7 Article 15s is like getting locked up 7 times, pretty much. I got 7 Article 15. My first one in the military was for a tongue ring.
Okay.
An NCO put my tongue ring in. And that's in the military. When you do that, it's like damaging government property. Because once you're a soldier in any branch, or a service member, you become government property. So anything you do to your body, they can reprimand you for it. So got in trouble for the tongue ring. I was told I wasn't supposed to go off post. I need a blanket. As you heard me say, I'm a little knucklehead. So restriction really wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had 2 things to say. Who you talking to? And I don't care. I don't care what you talking about. And I wound up getting in trouble for going off post when I wasn't supposed to. One of the NCOs caught me off post. And it was a trickle effect. And it was like I went from having that same mentality, even though I didn't want to, but because it was like that atmosphere was like, oh, you from Miami? Oh, you think you tough? So now I'm automatically back into the defense mode. You know what I mean? I can't even relax here. Okay, now I'm still fighting. So went through Korea, got in trouble. I got another Article 15 for was on the bus coming back, and I told you I fight. And I used to hang with a lot of guys. I hung with a lot of guys, always associated with like 4 females that hung out with us. We was on the bus, and the guy was talking noise. And we like, look, we can't, because you start talking noise, you get in trouble on the bus, you're going to get kicked out. So he wound up talking noise, and I'm sitting in front of him. So I turn around, and I was like, when we get off this bus, I got something for you. But he about your size, probably about like 6'3", light-skinned brother, real tall. I cannot remember this guy's name. He was drunk. And we got off the bus, and I walked up to him, and I said, what you said to me? He said something. I took my heels off, and I went at him. He swung. Before the Matrix came out, I had already had that move down pack.
Okay.
And they swing back real slow.
Yeah.
Like, I got it.
Okay.
I got it down pat. I'm going to have to show it to you one day. Not today. Not today. But, and the next thing I know, because my nickname is Coco, somebody said he swung at Coco. When all I knew was they rushed him. It was dudes everywhere. They rushed him. We found out they found him in a turtle ditch. A turtle ditch in Korea is like, how you have the roads, but on the roads is ditches, like these big ditches. And it was full of grass and dirt, to go to the sewer. They found him the next morning, knocked out in the turtle ditch. So I want to say fast forward 30 days from there, nobody knew my name because I never told nobody my real name. I would always give everybody my nickname. And in Korea, military, you didn't want nobody to know your name because we was fighting. Like, we was brawling in the clubs. Like, I mean, if you was going out in Korea and you was hanging out, somebody was talking to you and you fighting. And from there, it was like I got another field grade, which wound up kind of hurting my career. And it was like, got in trouble for self-defense. Pretty much. And at 23, I had my first baby. And like I said previously, still during this time, I'm still looking for love. I'm still looking for that connection. I'm still searching for that acceptance. This whole time, I'm still doing the same process with my family. Me and my mom, we're not getting along. Me and my dad not getting along. I'm still looking for that connection with them. Trying to pretty much, at this point, I felt like I was buying love. You get in that place where I wanted my mom to see like all the tools and things that you taught me, I'm using, I'm okay. Got my son's father, got pregnant on birth control. That's as crazy as it may sound, it's a real thing. Got pregnant on birth control, the best physical fit of my life, getting ready to, my career's about to skyrocket. I'm not in trouble anymore. I'm pretty much, at that point, I figured it out. Then I got pregnant, had a baby, and I wound up getting in trouble. Got another Article 15 while I was pregnant because right at the beginning of my pregnancy, one of the guys liked me, but I didn't want to hook up with him. And we got into it. He went and told this E7, who was the acting first sergeant, who he was messing with. They was cool buddies that I cussed him out. And if you cuss an NCO out as a low enlisted, that's disrespect. So I'm an E4 promotable, getting ready to make E5. Got in trouble, I get bust down 2 ranks. So that bust me down from E4 promotable to E3. So now I'm back struggling. So I'm struggling in the military. I'm an E3. I got a baby. My son's father is in Korea. He left me and found out he cheating. I'm not really being accepted. I'm not really being validated. I'm not feeling love. My mom don't like him. My dad stressing. I done been deployed. I'm back, had a baby, and it's like, what the fuck? This is not where I thought I was gonna be. And he begged me to have a baby just to not be there. And I was ready to go to the garbage can. I ain't gonna lie, I was ready because I was like, I didn't want to be a baby mama. I didn't want that. I was like, I don't want that. I already know what that. I seen my mom. I know what that life is like. I didn't want to go through that. And so, and I called my mom. I remember calling my mom like, Mom, what should I do? Because I'm needing guidance. Like, and she was like, well, you gotta, I don't know. You need to do what's best. Had my mom told me, you need to get an abortion, I would have been there. I would have gotten an abortion. And it probably would have changed the trajectory of my life and especially my career. But she didn't. So moved on, kept going. That next scar would be 28. I was 28 and my dad passed away. I was deployed in Iraq. This is 2008, 2008. And by this time, 9/11 hit. I was, this is my third tour. Yeah, this is my third tour in Iraq at this time, being in combat. And I wrote that year. The reason why the year is so significant, because I was in a place where I wrote my dad a letter when I was in Iraq. I had finally started going back to church. I had got away from the church, mad at God, because I was like, ain't no way I'm supposed to go through this. All the praying I did, nah, this ain't it. But while I was growing up, what I didn't say was I used to pray for death. And I used to be so mad with God. Like, why do you have me on this earth suffering if you love me? Can't be possible. So that drove me away from church. Like, And so when he passed away, before he passed away, I wrote him a letter. It was like a 4-page letter that I wrote him. And my mom found out about it. She knew I wrote him a letter. And she asked me what was in that letter. For years, she asked me what was in that letter. And when she passed away, she blamed me for his death. Now, mind you, my dad had major heart issues, had his first heart attack at 24, open heart surgeries, took 50 pills a day, bad health conditions. But it hurt me because I was like, when he passed away, I was alone. There was nobody else in the world besides my mom that was a part of me. There's no siblings, you know what I mean? Like, there's nobody else. And when she said that, it told me, I'm like, I'm in Iraq fighting for my life. I'm over here going through it in combat. You know nothing about what I'm going through. I can't explain it to you. And you tell me it's my fault my daddy died.
Wow.
And I called the hospital begging the doctors to keep him alive while I'm traveling from Iraq, trying to get back to the States. Getting stuck, like. So, life continued on.
Did you make it back?
I did make it back.
Okay.
Got to the funeral. And I always told my mom, I said, if my dad passed away, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me. Because I didn't have that connection with him. Tore me up. Because in that letter, I told him I forgave him. And I wanted him to know, like, for me to hear it. It's one thing to read it, but it was like I was older now. I was like, I wanted him to know that I forgave him. And that year is when I started going back to church. In Iraq, I started being in the choir. I was in a dance ministry. I had really started back digging into my faith. And when he passed away, it tore me up. It was like, now I did all of this. I came back and it was 12 months. I'm like, I did my 12 months. We got 3 months left. We had 15-month tours. And I'm like, I just want to go tell him I forgive him. And the last time I seen my dad, he was waving goodbye to me in the driveway.
Wow.
So that's
He got to read the letter though, right?
Yeah. But she never found it. She looked for it. She never found it. I don't know what he did with it, but she never found it. I don't remember what I wrote in it. I don't even remember. And then...
Did you write him all letters often, or was that just the one time you chose to write him?
That was the one time I chose to write them.
Wow.
It was a lot that I said in them. And then fast forward, happy, found a guy that had changed my life. He asked me a question. And I moved into a different era.
What was the question?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I looked and I was like, I ain't never had no man. Ain't nobody ever asked me that. What do you mean? You ain't asking to sleep with me. You ain't asking to hook up. You ain't asking for none of the other things that I'm normally getting. But you asked me, where I see myself in 5 years? And then the follow-up statement was, you're nowhere near the woman today that you're going to be in 5 years. And I'm like, who the hell is she going to be? So now I got on this rat race trying to find her. And then my grandma passed away.
Okay.
My grandma passed away and I'm like, oh my gosh. My grandma was my rock through every deployment. I can never tell somebody what war looks like. It's not like what it looks like on TV. I can't say what Vietnam and, all the other things before me. But the war I was in, man, I used to call my grandma and be like, Grandma, man. And she told me something that stuck with me. She said, baby, I'd rather for you to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. I don't care what you do. Get home. And I got home every time. And that scar was pivotal, but it was enlightening. It gave me strength because she was a strong woman. Like, she fought tooth and nails, and that was my girl. So for me, it was like I couldn't fail. I didn't want to fail at 32. And yeah, when she said that, when she told me that, it was always, so I keep her with me. Like, her name is Margaret. She loves elephants. So I keep elephants all around my house. Got an elephant tattoo. Because the elephant never forgets. It never forgets where it came from. So I always keep elephants around me. And then 35, I got married. I had a baby at 34. I got married. And you would think that it would be the most ideal thing in your life. meaning it's supposed to be that point where you, as a woman, like I made it. You know, growing up, you hear the stories. Oh, you got to get married. You got to have kids, you know, by this age. And I felt like I was living up for everybody else. Like my steps was for everybody else. I'm like, I'm getting married. And I sat back and I was like, did I really want to get married? Or did I do it for... I'm not saying I didn't love him and things wasn't right, but I felt like I was doing it to make everybody else happy in the moment.
Thinking that's just what you were supposed to do.
I was supposed to do. This is, okay, I done been with him this amount of time. Okay, don't you be no woman staying with no man 5, 6, 7 years. Don't let him get the cow before he, get the milk before he buy the cow. You know the old sayings. And I would think of getting married that my mom would finally be like, okay, you did it. You doing good. And I'm happy for you. And my mom wasn't involved. She wasn't involved in my wedding. She told me, she said, I didn't believe you was going to get married until I seen you walk down the aisle. And I'm like, what? You know how much money I done spent on this wedding? I'm talking about I went all the way home. I went to our hometown to get married, to have your first daughter to come home and do it right.
Okay.
And even in that, you couldn't even give it to me. But, moved on.
So married, do you have any scars?
Yeah.
Come on. Lord. We got time.
Ooh, let's take a pause. Jesus. Huh? What, you want to talk about that one? Okay, give me a second. The first scar with my marriage was he was married.
Hold on. He was married to someone else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When we met, he was married. I met him in 2006. Met him, friends in the military. We didn't get together till 2009 when he was actively, separated, doing his thing. Then he was married the entire time. And to be honest, it was quite easy because I was in that space where I was like, man, I ain't want to be with nobody. When I met him, I was just chilling. I'm doing me. I'm in the military. I don't want no relationship. We're going to have a good time. We have a good time. Then we got serious. But he was married. And then on top of being married, he was cheating on me while being married. So it was like, so then I struggled with the insecurities of not being chosen first. So it went back to the original scar.
Wow.
Of not being chosen first. And I struggled with that scar in my life for a very long time. And even with that, as a woman, I can say for me, there's nobody that don't want to be chosen first. That don't want to feel like you gonna say, you coming for me first. And when you don't feel like that, you second guess everything about yourself. You can get up in the morning, put on the best outfit, be pretty, have the wig on, makeup. Same thing with a man. But if you don't feel like you're that person's first choice, you're gonna second guess everything. And then I would sabotage things. Like I was self-sabotage because I didn't believe nothing else past that. I don't trust you. So with that, are you gonna do you? I'm gonna do me. Okay. I met you on the playground. We met in that world. We shouldn't have that in our relationship. So he didn't get divorced until a month before our wedding. Like the wife kept, his ex-wife, because he didn't live there. He had moved, was in different states. She kept contesting the divorce until, the Lord was like, look, she's keep contesting it because she wanted to prolong the proceedings. And so we got, she signed the paperwork a month before our actual wedding date in that. So then he wasn't really around our whole relationship. Been in the military, he was overseas, I was overseas. So that was a scar going right into a new marriage. We were separated for the first 3 years of our marriage. He was, I think, 4 years. I got pregnant right after I got married. Well, I got pregnant before that, but then he was gone after I got pregnant. Then we got married a year later. And he was gone the entire time. And coming back, thinking that, okay, now we're bad, we're going to be good. He came back with a book bag. He had a backpack of stuff that he couldn't get rid of. So now I was in this fight trying to get rid of this book bag, the demons he carrying. Because now he's fighting his own PTSD from being in the military. He's self-medicating. So now you have two people retired trying to get through, dealing with the same things. And we was not connected. Our relationship took a toll. And I was in Kentucky, and I met a young lady, and me and her became friends. And she moved to Georgia, was in Kentucky, moved to Georgia. So she was with me the whole time, the last 5 years of our marriage, but recently. But in that marriage, it was abuse. So now I went back into fighting. We fighting, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse. And it's like, when is enough enough? So now I sit at 43. Let's say, 44, and not go back into all the scars. And I've been accepting the scars.
All your childhood scars.
Yeah. And I had to learn to accept them. And so I developed this 3 A's. This 3 A's is called acknowledging them, accepting them, and then taking purposeful action for change. And I look back and I was like, wow, every one of my relationships that I was in, they was with somebody else and they didn't choose me. And they went back into all I ever wanted was for my dad to choose me first as his little girl. And it's been a challenge, recognizing those scars and trying to heal them. Because I don't think you ever heal from them. I think you may heal, but they never go away.
You learn how to live with them.
Yeah.
So are you still married?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're separated.
Okay.
But we have a good relationship. We co-parent. So we okay right now. Just trying to figure it out.
Okay.
What the future may hold, I don't know. But right now, as far as me, I'm just trying to focus on me this time. Heal me. And throw more pebbles in my pond.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. So.
You have any other scars you want to share with us?
Yes, I have one.
Okay.
The scar of a dark-skinned woman. Like, I think that has been the most challenging part about being like going through just growing up. And when I look back now, because I do these things where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure out how did I get here? Like, Tamika, how did you get to this point? And when I ask myself those questions, I go back and I ask the questions for my parents. Like, how did they get here? Let me check out their scars. You know, what happened? What did they do? And then I went into, wait a minute. My dad married my mom. My mom was married, but my dad got with her, helped her get divorced. Every one of my relationships, I went into that. And then it was like, was that because I was dark-skinned? Did nobody want me because I was dark-skinned? Did they not love me because I was dark-skinned? And then I had this thing where I hate when people say, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. And you go back into it and it's like, man, I went through so many things and looking at it and it all goes back to all of the things I went through as a kid, all the scars. Dark skin comes up first.
Wow.
Because the light skins didn't get treated that way. They got supported, you know. And it's like, well, what if I wasn't dark skinned, would I be treated that way? Or my mom would have loved me better? She would have treated me different? Because colorism is real. Mm-hmm. And so now it's like healing from that scar. It's every day when I see a Black woman, I tell her she's beautiful. I don't say you're pretty because you're dark skinned. I say you're beautiful. And they go into, oh, well, I got this and I got that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start over. I'm going to give you a second to collect yourself because I understand. You ready? You're beautiful. And it's like they snap too. And it's like, wow, that's a powerful impact, you know, and then it's a connection there. And I'm like, I know how you feel. You hate this when somebody say you're a pretty dark-skinned girl. Oh my gosh. And from there, it's like I go back into, it reminds me of talking to the 8-year-old little girl in them. It's like my 8-year-old was talking to the 8-year-old, and I get it. I remember being in third grade, third grade, and I would not, so imagine, it seemed like it was a mile of me, maybe 2. It was a long way for me to walk home. And I remember not catching the bus, and it was this girl, kind of heavyset girl on the bus. They used to pick at me and would pull my hair and would call me ugly because how my mama did my hair and I was dark skinned. And I told my sister, well, no, I'm lying. I wasn't catching the bus. So my sister found out that my older sister found out that I wasn't catching the bus. And when she found out, she told my mom that I wasn't catching the bus. So my mom found out, she said, why you weren't catching the bus? And I wound up telling them that I was getting bullied on the bus. So we gets in the car. Oh no, Mika, what is she, to me? Where she stay at? Where she stay at? Ma, I don't know where she stay. I don't remember. Yes, you do. You do know where she stay at. I don't know where she stay at. If you don't tell me where she stay at, I'm gonna beat your ass. Your sister gonna beat your ass. Your grandma gonna beat your ass. What? I know how the ass was getting in my family. I don't want none of them. We all get in the car. 2 car for us. We go over to the girl house. My mama knocks on the door. Tells the mama, where's your daughter at? Your daughter been bullying my daughter. And my daughter finna fight your daughter. And if you got a problem with it, I'm gonna beat your ass. That's what my mama told her mama. Guess what I had to do? I had to fight. And after that, we going to the monkey bars. You say something to me? Let's go to the monkey bars. Beat me after school. I became the bully. I was fighting my way. Like, nope, my big sister said the fear of not wanting to get beat at home, I would rather fight in the streets than to be beat at home. And that was my whole life. It was just that. I was fighting my way not to be at home.
Okay. Do you have any scars you can remember where complexion actually came up, like when you were younger, when someone says something about your complexion?
My grandma.
Okay.
My grandma. So me and my grandma used to have this thing, you know, the color purple?
Mm-hmm.
So you know the part where Suge Avery is upstairs and she in the house? And
Yes.
she come up there, she had a tray.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did she say when she going there?
You sure is ugly.
And what she say, babe? She was like, no, babe, right?
Mm-mm.
I say that to my grandma. I said, oh, grandma, you sure is ugly. My grandma with your complexion. You sure is ugly, grandma. That was our thing. And you sure is black.
That's what she would say back.
That what she would say. And you sure is black. And my grandma passed away. My aunt Barbara, Aunt Bobby, she just passed away not so long, a couple months ago. She told me at my grandma's funeral, she said, you turned out to be a pretty black girl. After all those years of telling me I was an ugly black girl, you gonna be, ooh, you sure was ugly to be Dawson. You're an ugly Dawson girl. And I was like, I felt accepted. I felt like I finally made it. Ooh, one of the elders finally said I was pretty. Because all the elders are light skinned. They have Indian, white, and black. So you got to imagine how that comes down, excuse me, where now somebody finally telling you you accepted, you finally made it to pretty, but you dark. It happens. It's a thing. Now I get upset. If somebody tell me I'm pretty to be a dark skin, who you talking to? Yeah, don't ever say that to nobody. That's disrespectful. I get offended. I believe scars are pivotal things that we all need. I would not take any scar away. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change anything that I've been through. Excuse me. I believe that it has been my stepping stones, my strength, my foundation. It's what makes me me. It's like a diamond in the rough.
Tell us about your different brims and how they're named based on your scars. And
So I don't name my brims. I have a friend of mine who is another creator. And how it came about was I was like, hey, can I send you this picture of a brim? I did a brim for somebody, and I sent him the picture, and he named it. When he named it, it actually was the person. It meant the person's name. He didn't know it. I showed him a picture. He knew nothing about the person. I just showed him a 360 picture of the brim. He named the brim. And when I looked at it, I said, oh my gosh. And so from there, I said, hey, do you mind helping me name my brims? He was like, sure. He in California. I just sent him pictures. And every one of my brims, every time I send him a picture, he would name it. And when he started naming the brims for my collection, that was the one, the all white with a spot of color, it was emotional because it made me connect to the brim, if that makes sense. Like, I know I was making it, but it was like when he gave me it, it's like when you have a baby, you give it a name, you know it's yours.
mm-hmm.
And it was like when he gave it a name, even though I made it, I didn't see it. Like I felt it. I knew what I was putting in the brim. But once I put that scar in the brim, it no longer was mine. It became a piece of art. And it was beautiful. So no longer did I see it as a scar. It was like, wow, oh, okay. Tiramisu is just not a brim with brown on it. It was brown that started my transition into the military. You know, YOLO was when I was excited. Red blood is when, young blood was when I was part of a gang and nobody knew. It was all the things that I was going through. He would name it and I would instantly connect to it. And it was like, wow. And it became a masterpiece. And it's been going ever since then. And it's like the stories tell itself.
So where could the people find
you
your
can
brims?
find me on all social media platforms, Unlocked Brims. If it's Instagram, it's unlocked_brims, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, all Unlocked Rims. Find me on my website. Get you your own custom brim. Tell your story at www.unlockedrims.com. And you can find me personally at Solid Black Coffee on IG. But yes.
Miss Coffee,
Mr.
thank you for
Dave.
coming out, sharing your story.
Yes.
You know, thank you.
I appreciate it. This was a real challenge, like in a good way. I really dig what you're doing. It made me really dive into not only my mission, but the vision behind the mission. And so thank you for giving homage to my brand and remembering me.
Yes.
That's the main thing. You remembered me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you for coming out, Miss
Until
Lady.
next time.
Yes.
Yes.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Scars. We out.
Scars on the surface, but they deeper within. Every stitch is a chapter, every break is a win. From the pain we ascend, like the phoenix we rise. Scars podcast where the truth never lies.